on WCAB.
Well, we went right into it. That is the international Morse code signal.
Right now, there are more than 130,000.
Gilbert Talks Taxes. Did we hit that okay? My engineer this morning, Tom, we're doing great here. Engineering all the way up to the very minute we're starting. And we are live on www.wcab59.com, right? Whoa, we're doing it all this morning. We are good. Yeah, you timed it with that last song right to the beginning of it. That was engineering at its best right there. Good morning, everybody. This is Gilbert. The program is Gilbert Talks Taxes. We are on WCAB AM 590 FM 100.9 this 8th day of January 2022. It is a new year, and we are back after a short little break. Again, my name is Gilbert Carmona. I am an enrolled agent. What's an enrolled agent, Tom? A person that's enrolled with the IRS. I represent taxpayers when they have problems with the IRS. I also do tax returns, and I fix problems with the state. So not just the IRS, but the state. I also do financial planning. On top of all that, I do tax planning. We come up with strategies to try to save you money, mitigate that tax. That's a good word. I'm going to use that word a lot this year, mitigate. We're going to mitigate that tax that you might otherwise owe. And how do we do this? By stopping and just using tax law the way it was meant to be, to help people. Now, I have an office here in Rutherford at 113 Whitesides Road. I have an office in Tryon at 226 South Trade Street, the beautiful Art Deco building right off the historic downtown Tryon. One telephone number can get you an appointment at either office. My telephone number is 828-289-9300. I deliberately went slow on that because people tell me, Gilbert, you talk really fast. Yeah, I talk fast because there's a lot of information I'm trying to get into a 1-hour program. Jim actually wants me to do 2 hours. I said, no, I think 1 hour is about all people can handle. 1 hour of Gilbert Talks Taxes. Telephone number is 828-289-9300. So, where do I begin? I literally showed up this morning, Tom, with no notes. You're my witness. I had a blank slate. Everything I was going to do and talk about and I was thinking about, I would write it down and be like, nah, forget that. Or write it down, nah, forget that. There is a lot going on. There's just a lot going on with the IRS. They are, believe it or not, telling us that they're ready for tax season. How that can be, I don't know. But they are telling us that they're ready, they're good to go. When I went to their website this morning, one of the things that you find right away is that it was down. So I'm going to take their word for it, that they're ready, okay? Actually, parts of it were down, parts of it were up. It just depends what you were looking at. But down for maintenance, by the way. That's not a good sign. That's just not a good sign. But I'm going to take their word for it. They're ready. Yesterday was the first day you could file business returns. So business returns were ready to go. W-2s are out. Okay. Paychecks said people that, and they're one of the largest payroll providers. So we usually look to ADP and Paychecks to see what's going on in that world. They're on track. Their payroll yesterday was ready to go. Their Paychecks platform was already, you could, if you're a Paychecks client, you could go there and download your W-2 information for your employees. If you're an employee who uses the Paychecks portal, meaning your employer has Paychecks, you could go there and download your W-2. What does that mean? We're off. We're off and running. When W-2s are ready, it's the beginning of tax season. So they're ready. January 15th is a big deadline. Next, which is going to be on, because it falls on a Saturday, it's going to be the following Monday. So we are going to have on that Monday, estimated tax payments are due. And I'm going to get into that a little bit. I'm going to talk about all of that and then some. But where do I want to go? There's several things that are on my heart that I want to talk about. So at the end of December, when I left, because we took a little 2-week break, the holidays fell on Saturdays, so we just decided to not do the program at all. When the last time I was here, there was a lot up in the air still with tax law. You know, at the end of the year, Congress votes on what they call the extenders, and they've been trying to get this Build Back Better rammed through. They were trying to get all this going. They were basically trying to spend as much money as they could, just ram it through. Pretty much from what I understand, Build Back Better is dead. Is that what you've been hearing in the news? Yeah, it's pretty much dead. It needs to be dead. Okay? With that said, it needs to be dead. People have asked me, they've said, you know, Gilbert, usually I talked a lot about Trump, and I really supported Trump, and I still do. I will still stand up for him. I'll stand up for his economic policies. There is no doubt we had the best economic 4 years that we'd had since the World War II recovery years. And looking back now, it looks even better. Anybody who's bought meat lately or put gas in their car lately knows this. I'm not believing these inflation numbers that inflation's up 5.9%. I'm looking at real numbers with business people. This is double digit now and climbing. Okay, what we call real inflation, what it's really costing you, and what things are really costing you, if you can get them. There are major shortages of things still. I mean, when have you gone to the shelves of a grocery store and seen whole sections of just shelving empty? I mean, that's like things you see. Those are things people see when they go on mission trips to other countries. That's not something you've seen here in America. So before I left, there was a lot of talk about the tax bill and what they were going to do and what the impact was going to be. And they were saying a lot of things. And none of it happened. It was all just talk. They were going to, let me give you an example. And I'm getting to a point in this, and I want to encourage people, is where I'm going with all of this. I really want to encourage you, because there is a lot of opportunity out there. It's not over. I get emails from people, our way of life is being destroyed. No, it's not. We're getting what we need. We're getting a fight put in us. We're going to fight. We're not giving up. And I'm preaching to myself on this too, okay? Because I thought, this is over. This economy is going to tank. Things are going to go south. It's going to be bad. But you know what? No. And I'm going to say something, and then I'm going to share a scripture about why I feel this way. We were at a financial planning seminar, and all the news was talking, and I shared the story right before the break where we were at training. We do continuing education every year. We take, Christy and I take many hours of continuing ed. So we're at a class, and and these are all highly qualified national teachers. These are people that this is what they do. They're connected with the IRS. They get the tax law as it's happening, and they break it down how to teach it to us so we can do our job better for you. And we're ready. So when you come in for me to do your tax return, I know about that. I know what to do with that. Because I don't listen to the news. I want to hear it from the people that are there. So and these classes are expensive. We pay a lot of money to do this. We travel. They're usually held in major cities. So we were in Charlotte. We were in Atlanta. And the man comes out at 10 o'clock and does a 1-hour section on this law they were voting on in D.C. And they were literally, as he was teaching it, this law is being voted on. Or parts of it. You know how they have to pass things through as a package? So part of it. So he's telling us what to do, and we're all taking notes, and people are, record the thing, and everybody's there. And we take our break, a little 10-minute break we take. We all come back, and the man stands up, and he says, everything I just taught you, forget. Washington just voted against all of that. Exactly. Tom's just shaking his head. That's it. And that's the kind of environment we've been in, where we haven't known. So they said, another example, they said they're going to lower the estate threshold from $10 million to $1 million. So I'm at a financial planning seminar, and this is a hot topic because when Trump became president, the inheritance threshold was $5 million. Now, what that means for people is when somebody passes away, it automatically creates an estate. Without you doing anything, there is an estate created. It's more of a legal concept than, yes, you will go in paper and you will create an estate. You'll get an EIN number and you do all these things when a person passes away. Of course, if there's a will or a trust or these things are involved, we'll deal with it at that time. But when the person passes away, there's technically this estate created. Okay, so the estate does not pay income tax on the property or the assets or the value of that estate up to, and it was, before Trump got elected, it was 5.2 million, I want to say. The number goes up every year a little bit. It was like 5.1 million, then it was 5.1.5 million, so it was around 5.2 million. I don't remember the exact number. Then, and that sounds like a lot of money when you say, well, my estate will never be worth $5 million. But I have shared the Uncle Marvin story at least 100 times on here. It feels like I've shared it so many times. But for those of you who haven't heard it, Uncle Marvin was a real person here, not his real name, but a real person here in the county who passed away. And his heirs were shocked to find out that Uncle Marvin's estate was worth just north of 1.5 million. They were shocked. Uncle Marvin had worked at a local mill his entire life, never married, drove the same pickup truck for 27 years, had 40 acres somewhere up in Golden Valley, somewhere around there, had 40 acres, and his house literally looked like the day it was built. Okay? Uncle Marvin never spent a penny. And as the one nephew said, and it's the best line I've ever heard in my 25 years of practice, the best line I ever heard is, I wish I'd known he had money, I would have been nicer to him. Okay? I said, at least you're an honest man. At least you're honest. They were so surprised that he left them any money. Why? Well, because real estate goes up. Values go up. Somebody came and offered them. I don't know. It's been so long now, I don't even remember the actual numbers, but somebody came and offered them $300,000-$400,000 for the house. And Uncle Marvin's truck was like an antique. That was actually worth a lot of money. And all these things were worth a lot of money. So a $5 million estate is not crazy. It's really not. It's actually getting more and more. With the inflation the way it is right now, people are surprised when they find out their parents have these $2 and $3 million estates. Okay, so Donald Trump comes into office. It's $5 million. Donald Trump, as part of his tax bill, raises it to $10 million, which I felt was a good move. A lot of people felt it was a good move, so we did a lot of tax planning based on that $10 million. Well, I'm going back now to the Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton wanted to make it $1 million. The Democrats, for some reason, want to make it $1 million, or at least that's what they say they want to do. And that's what we're learning. What these people say they want to do and what they actually do are two completely different things. When this president came into office, he was going to undo every tax thing Donald Trump did. And I was at the financial planning meeting, and people were talking to me, and people were all worried about this, that. And the other thing I said, no, they're not going to do a thing. Nothing is going to change. They're not going to get rid of SALT. They're not going to lower the estate planning, because people were calling their clients. They were getting them ready. I'm like, no, stop. Don't do that. They're not going to do it. Why? Because this is good, and they know it, and they're taking advantage of it. So it's not going to happen. Everything has just been a scare tactic, just a big scare tactic. And the truth of the matter is, nobody knew what they were going to do. Nobody. They're just winging it and worried about themselves and their own political agenda, and that's it. So I want to encourage you, because we can cut through all that. There are still a lot of opportunities in there. This is still the greatest country. It's the easiest country to start a business. It's the easiest country still to run a business and make money and support families. Small business is still the backbone of this country. And I just don't see that changing anytime soon. I want to really, really encourage people. It's like if they can scare you enough, they can control you and you vote for them. No, that's not what we're doing. And the scripture I want to share, we're going to take a break, but the scripture I want to share, because so many people that I talk to feel this way. And I've been reading this one a lot. I've been reading this one a lot for about a week now. It's in 1 Kings, and it's 17:12. 1 Kings 17:12. It's actually, I encourage you to read that whole chapter. It's about Elijah. So Elijah goes, and there's a widow that he comes upon as he's traveling from one area to another, and she's gathering sticks. And he says to her, "Bring me a little water that I can drink." And she said to him, I'm going to get right to 12, which is the part I want to read. Well, she gets him the water, and then he says to her in 11, "Bring me some bread to eat." And she says to him, "As the Lord your God lives, I have not a loaf baked, but only a handful of meal in a jar and a little oil in the bottle. See, I'm gathering 2 sticks that I can go in and bake it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die." And that's been the attitude of a lot of people. This is over. We've got the never-ending pandemic, the never-ending drama with Washington, the never-ending whatever, fill in the blank. So I'm gathering 2 sticks that I might go in and bake it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. But Elijah had another plan, and so did God, and God's got another plan for you. God's got another plan for me. He's got another plan for us. Elijah said to her, "Fear not. Go and do as you have said, but make me a little cake of it first. Bring it to me, and afterwards prepare some for yourself and your son. For thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, the jar of meal shall not waste away, or the bottle of oil fail, until the day that the Lord sends rain on the earth." And she did as Elijah said, and she and her household ate for many days. And if you follow the story through, it's where he appears to Ahab, and then there's the famine in the land and the drought, and he comes up against the prophets of Baal, worshiping the idols, worshiping the statue of Baal, and he says, "If God is God, serve God. If Baal's God, serve Baal. How long will you halt and limp between 2 opinions?" And we're not halting and limping between 2 opinions. Those of you that have listened to me for the 7 years I've been doing this, know there's one scripture that's in my heart, and it's been the foundation of what I teach. What is truth? What is this thing, as it's in Proverbs, what is this thing I hold in my right hand? Is it truth? And we just want to know what truth is. Okay, let's take a break, Tom. I went a little over there, but that's okay. Let's take a quick break. I'll be right back. We're going to talk about W-2s, what's happening there. We're going to talk about this January 15th deadline coming, it is upon us. This is Gilbert Talks Taxes, WCAB, AM 590, FM 100.9. This is Gilbert. I want to tell you about Jesse James Railroad Express at 531 Railroad Avenue in Rutherford. It's a great place. Jesse's a good friend of mine, and I encourage you to stop by and support him. On Mondays, he's doing a 99-cent hot dog, mustard, chili, and onions. When you go, tell him Mr. Fabulous himself sent you. I want to tell you about a little-known Rutherford County gem, Integrity Marble and Granite, located at 287 Shiloh Road in Forest City. They are the premier stone fabrication company in the western North Carolina region. They specialize in granite, marble, and natural stone, offering complete design and installation. Their design center and Kohler showroom features vanities, decorative accessories, bathroom, and kitchen fixtures. You do not have to go to Charlotte or Asheville for this kind of quality. We have it right here in Forest City. Stop in their showroom and browse their beautiful displays, or you can call 828-247-8801 for a free quote. You can also go to their website, www.integritymarblegranite.com, and look at the pictures and see samples of their available materials. Now, mention you heard it on Gilbert Talks Taxes, and they will give you $100 off any sink purchase. That's Integrity Marble and Granite. This is Gilbert. Gilbert Talks Taxes, WCAB, AM 590, FM 100.9. Those of you live streaming, www.wcab59.com. You are seeing me in my vintage Tommy Hilfiger tie here in the Blue Room. We are live. Oh yeah, Tom, this is vintage Tommy. This is back from when you had to go to like Charlotte to South Park Mall to get Tommy Hilfiger. Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, I used to go and scour the sale rack. This is vintage right here. Before you could get Tommy at Walmart. This is back in the day. Back in the day. So we're here, so you're watching me in my vintage tie. And yes, I do look fabulous in 2022. And it is January 8th, 2022. Weather outside is 23.3. Actually, it just came down. 23.1 degrees. It was a cold, frosty morning. I'm going to talk about W-2s real fast. W-2s. So Paychex, one of the nation's largest payroll providers. There's two. There's ADP and Paychex. I think they pretty much do the bulk of it. I know there's some other ones, but Intuit does a lot of payroll also. That's those of you that use QuickBooks, Intuit.com. That's who's processing it on the back end. So Paychex yesterday sent out an email. W-2s are ready. And it's a big deal because that is millions and millions and millions and millions of people will now have their W-2s. It's not really that early in the year, but it's just good to have that done. So your W-2s are ready. You can go ahead and start planning your tax return because you cannot use your last pay stub. When you come to me to have me do your tax return, I must have your W-2. It's not, I'm not just being hard. It's the law. The ERO must have the actual W-2, and that's the information that he's to put in the e-file information, the information that he inputs in the e-file. Why? Because there's always last-minute corrections. I've seen pay stubs be wrong a lot. Just a lot. Just there's too many things. They're audited for one thing, and because of rounding errors and recalculations and reclassifications that employers will do, there could be substantial information missing. So we must have that W-2. Those of you that have stock options or get commissions on top of your pay, get bonuses, per diem, travel pay, all these kind of things, HSA deductions, and people that do last-minute qualified contributions to their plans. All these things get reconciled at the end. That's why we've got to have that W-2. So those are ready. And we don't know the date yet to e-file individual tax returns. It's usually anywhere between the 20th. On the later side, we've done it as late as the 27th, if I remember correctly. I want to say the 27th or the 28th. One year they were having issues, and it really got postponed late. But typically it's around the 20th, the 21st, the 22nd. So we're just a couple of weeks away, Tom, from getting those things filed. I know. They'll open up. Now, yesterday, they did start accepting business returns. So you business owners can go ahead and start getting your tax returns done. We've already filed. Actually, we already have tax returns done and completed. I know, Tom. You're as amazed as I am. I really am. And it was Christy. It was Christy that she had all the information, and she said, I'm going to get this one wrapped up. I said, great, go ahead, and I'll review it. She got it done, gave it to me, went over the numbers, and everything was good. We're good to go. So that's 2 that I've got ready to go now. One she did, one I did. So we're ready. We're chomping at the bit. How's that? Is that a good saying? We're chomping at the bit to get that ready. Now, questions people always ask me, what if there's a mistake on my W-2? What if I don't get my W-2? What if, and we had a lot of this happen because businesses went out of business because of COVID, what if my employer went out of business and I can't get him? I've actually had this happen. We've had a few instances of it, but it's really very rare. If there's a mistake on your tax return, your W-2, you've got to take that up with your employer. You have to. He's the only one that can fix that. You just can't arbitrarily fix errors on your tax return. The IRS will flag it, and they will send it back to you, and it really could delay processing. It could delay processing a lot. So if you're getting a refund, especially if you're getting a substantial refund, it will definitely hold up your processing. And you just don't want that. Try to do whatever you can. Technically, the employer has until January 31st to get that W-2 back to you. If there's a correction involved, they can actually extend that a little bit longer without getting in trouble, especially if they're having some kind of a processing problem. These things happen, and you're just going to have to be patient with them. Now, what happens if your employer disappears? Well, you just can't come to my office January 15th and say, oh, the guy's out of business, he's closed, I'm not going to get a W-2. We actually have to wait till about February to file that return. We've got to make inquiry. You're supposed to at least try to find the guy. Maybe you write a letter to the last known address, because you've got to prove to the IRS that you tried to find this person. Just because because these things happen, and you've got to make some efforts. Then there is a form that we can fill out, and it's on you to prove that you actually worked for them and that you actually had this withholding. Believe it or not, if they have turned no information in to the IRS, it's on you to prove that. That's why it's very important you save those pay stubs. Very important. So you bring the pay stubs to me. Bring me bank, if you had direct deposit, bring me the bank statements showing all the deposits. Whatever proof you have that you worked for this person. And believe it or not, it's a little harder to prove sometimes than people realize. Because people don't think they'll ever need those pay stubs, so they throw them out. After all, what are you going to do with them? Yeah, I know. Tom looked at me like, no, exactly. People do that. And I just throw them out. You throw them out. That's what I like about direct deposit. They get an email. Yeah, they get an email. If you're with ADP or Paychecks, you get an email. And I really, really like that. Now, if you are with an ADP and a Paychecks and the employer goes out of business, you can go through them and get that information through the portal. And that is why I like it. We do our payroll that we actually partner with Paychecks. So we have a partnership relationship with them. They do the actual processing of the payroll. Let them handle it. It's what they do. We were doing it in-house, but we just got so big. And so many people, so many payrolls we were doing, we just felt it was just a better way to just allocate our resources and let Paychecks do the actual work. We just do the processing, and we kind of just ride over it, review everything, make sure everything's right. And that keeps us doing what we do best, and that's tax planning and tax return preparation. Those are the two things we do the best. So keep us doing that. So if you have a Paychecks or if you had a portal, you can go to that and get that information. Okay? So, but it's very important, and be thinking about it now, because it's going to take a couple of weeks to track this stuff down if you have a problem. So please be very aware of that. If you forget, people that change employers frequently, you forget you worked for somebody. And this has happened. I know. How could you forget you worked for somebody? But it was such a different year last year and the year before. People had a lot of temporary jobs. People were laid off. Places closed. Places opened. So if you do that, when you file your tax return, the IRS will remind you of who you worked for, because they're going to send you a letter, and that will slow up your processing also. So we don't want that. We don't want that. Have a hold of these W-2s. Start working on it now. So when the filing deadline, when they open the gates and we can start e-filing, you'll be ready, we'll be ready, and you won't have any problems getting your refunds. Okay, let's take a quick break. Gilbert Talks Taxes, WCAB AM 590 FM 100.9.
This is Gilbert. I want to tell you about Jesse James Railroad Express at 531 Railroad Avenue in Rutherford. It's a great place. Jesse's a good friend of mine, and I encourage you to stop by and support him. On Mondays, he's doing a 99-cent hot dog, mustard, chili, and onions. When you go, tell him Mr. Fabulous himself sent you. I want to tell you about a little-known Rutherford County gem, Integrity Marble and Granite, located at 287 Shiloh Road in Forest City. They are the premier stone fabrication company in the western North Carolina region. They specialize in granite, marble, and natural stone, offering complete design and installation. Their design center and Kohler showroom features vanities, decorative accessories, bathroom, and kitchen fixtures. You do not have to go to Charlotte or Asheville for this kind of quality. We have it right here in Forest City. Stop in their showroom and browse their beautiful displays, or you can call 828-247-8801 for a free quote. You can also go to their website, www.integritymarblegranite.com, and look at the pictures and see samples of their available materials. Now, mention you heard it on Gilbert Talks Taxes, and they will give you $100 off any sink purchase. That's Integrity Marble and Granite.
We are back. Gilbert Talks Taxes. Gilbert talks about a lot of things. WCAB AM 590 FM 100.9. Those of you live streaming, www.wcab. That's a lot of W's in there. WCAB59.com. And you're live streaming. You're watching me now, but those of you that are going to catch me later, there's a whole group of people that pick me up on the internet later, because this stays on and it goes on to internet world, and different people watch it. I get phone calls from all over the country asking me questions. It's really great, and I thank you all for listening. My telephone number is 828-289-9300. You can go to my website, gilberttalkstaxes.com. Yes, or gilbertcarmona.com, either one, but gilberttalkstaxes.com. And you see my big smiling face right on there. And there's a contact us page if you have any questions for me. And the programs are on there. The audio's on there as blog posts also. Okay, so we're talking about payroll during our brief little break there, and direct deposit. I don't know why anybody wouldn't have it. If your employer offers it, take them up on it. It is with what we're doing with paychecks, the checks are there. I don't know what time they're posting. You said where you had it, they were posting at 11 o'clock the day before. Yeah, on Thursday night at 11 o'clock. I need to ask my staff what time theirs are posting, but I know they're there in the morning because everybody's a happy camper Friday morning. Those checks are there, and those people don't miss a beat. Now, in the past, it has been, I'm going to talk about estimated tax payments here in a minute, but let me talk on this subject. Why did we partner with Paychex? In the past, if you were a small business, you had 2 employees, 1 employee, 3 employees, which is the bulk of the businesses in America. I don't know the exact number, but the estimate is between 70 to 80% of most people that don't work for the government work for small business. Small business is the backbone, okay, of this country. I don't care how many Googles and Amazons and Apples and whatever other big company you have Most people work for small, what we used to call a MAPA. It's just the backbone of the country. Service industry, plumbers, electricians, heating and air, retail outlets that are locally managed. Even some that may work for a larger chain are working for an individual. As an example, Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, yes, you don't work for Chick-fil-A. You're working for the man that owns the local Chick-fil-A that you have. There is a local person that owns that Chick-fil-A. That's their model. Pizzerias. That is the backbone. So in the past, there have been very few options for payroll processing, professional payroll processing, for people that had 1, 2, 3, 4 employees. The ADPs and the Paychecks and the other ones, there's many others, but ADP and Paycheck seem to be the two leaders. They do probably the bulk of it. It was cost prohibitive if you just had a few. Well, now Paychecks has totally changed that model, and they are really very cost effective, even if you're just having one person. You're the owner, you're paying yourself a W-2. You have an LLC or you're an Inc. or whatever, and you're paying yourself a W-2. Remember, if you're a Schedule C filer, you're really not supposed to pay yourself a W-2. I know some do that, but but if you're an LLC or an Inc., you have to. So you're paying yourself with a W-2, or you might bring on your wife as an employee. You might bring on some children as an employee. There's some tax strategies and some real money to be saved doing that. They're very cost effective now to do it. As a matter of fact, more cost effective than having your local accounting, your MAPA accounting service do it. And they are a well-oiled machine. You are not going to miss any deadlines with the IRS. You're not going to miss any deadlines with North Carolina or South Carolina or whatever state you're in, where you've got withholding and unemployment and all these other things. Because anybody that's missed those deadlines knows the fees and the penalties will eat you up. On some of them, it can be as high as 25%. It's really, it's high. So let them do that for the little bit of money that they charge. And Paychex offers free direct deposit, which is, to me, is the best thing that you can get. And then they email you your check stub, your payroll, or you set up your account and you go right. You set up the login and you go right to their portal and you can download it. And they store your stuff, even if your employer goes out of business or whatever, or you move on to another job. You can still access that for a set amount of time and download your documents. I think it's great. I think it's a great way to go. I'm super happy I wasn't going to talk about this, but we talked about it at the break. I'm very, very happy with this relationship we have with Paychex. And if you want to know, let's go into it. If you want to know more about it, give us a call, 828-289-9300. All my business clients, though, I've tried to make all of you aware of it. I've sent out the information on it, so we're excited, very excited about it. It's been great. We used it the last 4 months of last year. We used it for the last quarter, and we've just been thrilled with it. Okay, deadline. We've got a deadline upon us, Tom. A deadline is upon us, January 15th, which is actually on a Saturday, so we're going to have it on Monday the 17th. Is now that date. And actually, what holiday is January 17th? That's another holiday. Which one is it? Martin Luther. Good job. You didn't know there were going to be quizzes here today. Yes. So, actually, I forgot about it earlier when I said January 15th. I forgot, but I knew in the back of my mind I was saying there's a holiday coming. Yes, Martin Luther King, the man who wanted us to look at the character of a person, not the color of their skin. It's Martin Luther King's birthday. It's going to be celebrated this year, January 17th, which is a Monday. So all the deadlines are now Tuesday, January 18th. Got to get all these dates straight. Okay, so that is the deadline to send your estimated tax payments, your fourth quarter estimated tax payments. So you have this whole week to do this. A lot of our people that pay estimated taxes every quarter, I try to set them up so it's auto drafts out of their bank, and when we set it up so it's automatic. Those of you don't have to worry. You're going to wake up January 18th and that money's going to be out of your bank, and the IRS in North Carolina or whoever the state is will have their estimated tax payments. Okay, fine. But those of you that don't do it automatically, and there's a lot of people, small business people, that don't know what it's going to be, so they don't set it up ahead of time. So why would you make estimated tax payments? If you're a business owner and you're a Schedule C filer, actually, you can do it if you have investment income. You can do it if you have K-1 income, passive income. It's if you're going to have debt and you know you're going to owe. So we calculate it on the prior year. So if in 2020, when we did your tax return, you owed $5,000, okay, the program will automatically calculate this for us, because the law says if you owed more than $1,000, you're required the following year to make estimated tax payments. Now, there is a fine for not doing it, but the fine's very small. It's not a big penalty fine. It's actually, I've had people say they would rather not make the estimated tax payment and just pay it and just pay the small fine, because they'd rather have the money for working capital. That's a decision you have to make. I tell you what the law says. The law says you have to make it. So we use 90% as a number to come up with the number we come up with is based on 90% of what your tax due was the year before. So if your tax due was $5,000, we take 90% of that, and let's just say if it's $4,500, just to use a number, $4,500, we divide it by 4, and that comes up to whatever that comes up to, $1,150, and every quarter you've got to mail $1,150. Now, there are some business people that say, well, I'd rather wait till December and see how I will do, if we're having that meeting ahead of time, see how I'm going to do, and I'll just mail one lump sum payment. You can do that. That's what this deadline's all about. You got to get that one lump sum payment now. You can't post-date this one. You can't push it off. You can't mail it late. Because if you mail it late, it's going to get posted to next year. And there's nothing you can do about it. Okay? That's why I'm hitting it hard right now. If you're going to do it, you need to do it this week. And you need to get it. If you're going to mail a check, you need to get it out in the mail. I would even send it with tracking. I would even, if it's a big enough check and it's a big enough deal, I would even consider sending it second-day priority. It's $7, $8, and you know that they're going to get it. You can also do it online. You can pay estimated tax payments online, okay? And this would be your fourth quarter for 2021. I'm leery about telling people to do it online sometimes, because if you make a mistake, it's going to post to whatever you told it to. And I've had people go online and post it to this year because they say, well, it's the first quarter of 2022. No, the payment you're making is for fourth quarter 2021. And once that payment's made, you don't get it back. It's like, remember, Tom, when we were children and we played baseball and the baseball landed in that neighbor's yard with a dog? You ain't getting that baseball back. Okay? You ain't getting it back. It's gone. Sorry. You make that payment, it's gone. North Carolina, they're pretty letter law. Now, the IRS is supposed to go by the post date on the envelope. I wouldn't risk it. I just wouldn't. North Carolina's letter of the law. Anything that shows up on the 19th, the day after, whatever the due date is, it goes to the next year. And the reason I'm saying it, I keep reiterating it, is because some of these payments can be 5, 7, 10. I mean, I've had people send many, many, many thousands of dollars as an estimated tax payment. So what does sending it do? Again, it alleviates that penalty. You won't have a penalty for failure to file. You'll have gotten it to them. It'll post. You're not going to have to come up with a big lump sum of money, because then what happens is, and the reason people even do it is so that when it smooths it out a little, it spreads it out over a little bit of time. So when I do your tax return, your personal tax return now, when I do your personal tax return, March, April, and you owe $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, well, if you'd send them already 5 or 4 or apart, well, you don't have to come up with so much at one time. So it really does help, and I've had a lot of people tell me they're grateful they did it. They just say, well, good thing I sent it. And if I have to extend because whatever reason, you've already made a payment. So maybe where we might have to send an estimated payment with your extension, that might be less if we need to make one at all. So there's a lot of benefits to doing this. If you're not sure, you need to have a meeting with me. Call the office, 828-289-9300. Most of my people I've already met with, but if you're out there, give me a call. You're worried about it. Basically, I just need to know how much money you think you made. I can crunch the numbers and tell you, give you an idea of what your tax load's going to be, because we have the numbers now. We got them. We know what the tax rates are. Everything's locked in and good to go. Okay, I'm going to take a break, my last break. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to talk about RMDs. You know what RMDs are, Tom? Required minimum distributions. Doesn't matter if you know, I'm going to tell you anyway. Required minimum distributions. I'm going to talk about QCDs and maybe even share a little strategy about this. Gilbert Talks Taxes, WCAB, AM 590, FM 100.9.
Hi, I'm Sandra. My husband Peterson and I own Precision Detail and Tint. We invite you to come to our new location at 620 U.S. Highway 64, Rutherford, on the corner of Silvers Lake Road and Highway 64. Whether you need specialty detailing for your car, RV, or boat, or window tinting for your automobile, or home or business, we can help you. Voted Best of Rutherford County for 11 straight years, you will know you will get quality work at a good price. Stop by for an appointment or call 828-245-8889. We're open Monday through Friday 9 to 5 and Saturday 9 to 1.
This is Gilbert. I've made a career out of helping businesses. Something else that can help businesses is a good sign. Let me tell you about DS Signs and Graphics right here in Spindale. Whether it's outdoor signage, banners, printing, or promotional items, call Alex at 828-286-4900. And remember, a good sign is good business. This is Gilbert. If you owe the IRS past due taxes, don't call those toll-free national numbers. Local, affordable help is right here in Rutherford County. Stop garnishments, levies, and liens. Call Gilbert Carmona at 828-289-9300. All initial consultations are free. Call Gilbert, 828-289-9300.
We are back. This is Gilbert Talks Taxes. This radio station, my show's like all Gilbert, all talk, all the time. Every commercial is me. We need some new voice talent, Tom. No, thank you, Tom. I appreciate the compliment, but no, we need some. I gotta get some new commercials. WCAB AM 590, FM 100.9, www.wcab59.com. Watching us here live in the Blue Room, and with my vintage Tommy Hilfiger, silver and white. Kind of blends in a little too much there, but that's okay. That's okay. Well, we were back on the paychecks topic again, talking about it one more time. And yes, people don't save those pay stubs. So I'm so glad they're doing that the way they're doing it. They're doing it now. Okay, RMDs. Let's talk about RMDs. Oh, wait, before I get into RMDs, I got to say one thing because I don't want to run out of time and not say this. I got to say one thing. We have a new EA on staff. We have a new enrolled agent on staff. Emily passed her test yesterday. She passed her test. She passed her third test. Emily is now my newest enrolled agent. We are so excited. I am so happy. This is really major for me. Now, she's still officially not an enrolled agent. She's passed her tests. She's got now the phase 3 paperwork to get to the IRS. But because she's had a very good tax preparer doing her taxes for many years, that would be me. I'm not worried about that part of it. That's where they do all the compliance to make sure that you're current with all your things. Really, we go through a lot of scrutiny before you get that coveted wall plaque that says, and the little card, the pocket card, that says you are an enrolled agent with the IRS. So Emily, we're all just so proud of you that you did this. She finished her master's degree, and she wanted to accounting and taxation. And I was so happy for her. And I said, we were talking about just the direction for her to go in and just what we were going to do. And I said, what I really need is another enrolled agent that can talk to the IRS, that can solve problems. Because I don't care how many letters you write, there's just, when the cases get complicated and the issues are difficult, there's just a communication level that writing just can't do. And there's some of my biggest cases, I will say all of my biggest cases, and I've had multi-million-dollar cases with the IRS. Oh yeah, believe it or not. I'm telling you, $1 million is not a lot of, Tom made a face there. $1 million is just not a lot of money. It's easy to owe the IRS $1 million. Believe it or not. It's very easy with compounding interest and just the way they calculate everything. Don't forget, Al Capone still owes the IRS money. Yeah, they don't let a little thing like death get in the way. Okay? Al still owes money, a lot of money. Okay, so, but some of the biggest cases I've solved on a one-to-one phone call with an auditor. And we've resolved it there. We've come to an agreement, and boom, and I can say that every one of my cases that I've resolved has been satisfactory. I've only had a couple that the outcome wasn't what I wanted, but I can only work with what I have, So I needed a person, and Emily said, what's involved with that? And I said, let me tell you what's involved with that. And she did it. She did it, and I am so proud of her. Actually, all of us are proud of her. So, and Emily's been here on the air with me before. She hasn't said much, but she sat here. She's encouraged me, and maybe it needs to be Emily and Gilbert Talks Taxes going forward. I don't know. We'll see. But she's very bright, and she is a major asset to our team, and I'm so glad she's with us. Okay, that said, the other thing I want to talk about is there is a scam email going around. I want to warn people about this. Okay, one of our clients forwarded it to me, and it's from the IRS, or at least it says it's from the IRS, and the email says, you haven't gotten all of your stimulus money. In our internal audit, we found out that we owe you, and they make up this number, $563.80. And it's a number that's big enough that it makes people act. Click a link. Of course, you click a link, and it's over. They own your computer. Okay? Ransomware, whatever. I don't know because I don't click the link. But they go through this elaborate effort to create this beautiful looking email. It really looked good. There's just one problem. The IRS never sends emails, number one. That's just number one. The IRS will never email you, ever. They don't even have the capability to email you. Okay? I mean, I can't say that enough. It's not like they don't have a Gmail account. They can't. They're not going to email you and say, dear taxpayer, we're going to send you money. You got to just click here and verify, and we just need your information. No, that will never happen. But they go through all the trouble to create this beautiful email, and they spelled department wrong. They spelled it department. So actually, the lady forwarded the email to Christy. I'm in my office, and I hear Christy start laughing. Okay? I'm like, okay, what's going on in Christy's office? Because she's in there alone. Okay, so Christy's laughing, and I'm like, what is so stick my head in there. What is so funny? Department. Department. And in big, bold letters. So they elaborately crafted email, sent out however many, department. So, but, this is the thing about it. The lady believed it. She called us and actually forwarded the email to Christy and called us after she had spent a couple of hours on the phone trying to call the IRS. And I'm like, that just says it all right there. And I wanted to know, what department did you call? Because, I mean, do these people not at least run their own emails through spell check? I mean, that's all. I mean, when I'm typing, I get these red squiggly lines every time I spell something wrong. Do they not even have that? And the sad part is that this girl could have fallen for it. And how many people fall for it? Because there are people still waiting for stimulus money. There are people that are still, they got partial payments or didn't get a payment, and then we did the tax return. We did them in, especially people that extended. We did them in, October, August, October, September, and they're still haven't gotten it. And they will be getting them, but just with the shutdown and the holiday shutdown and everything, they're coming. Actually, somebody told me they spoke with the IRS, and the IRS had to give it a couple of weeks, and they should be getting it. So, and that was that third stimulus payment from January a year ago. So people are getting these monies. So this is great. But department, okay. So I wanted to warn you about that email that's going around. It is not real. Okay, the IRS will never email you. Okay, let me talk about RMDs, required minimum distributions. Okay. There is actually, so what is a required minimum distribution? Okay, if you put money away, how much time do I have left, Tom? I have got, we got 3 minutes. In radio, that's an eternity. 3 minutes. So if you have money in a qualified plan, you put money in a 401k, a 40 whatever is what I call them, a 40 whatever plan, because there's many of them. You put money away. You put money in an IRA. You put money in a deferred annuity. You put money into anything where the money you put in was tax-free money. At some point, the government wants their money back, okay? RMD used to be 70 and a half. We called it the half-year birthday. There's 2 half-year birthdays. There's the 59 and a half and the 70 and a half. 59 and a half, if you take your money out before 59 and a half, you pay a 10% penalty. Why? Because the government wants you to leave that money in there. They don't want you to defer it because there's a lot of tax strategies you could do with that, take the money out right away. So that's 59 and a half. Now 70 and a half, they say you have to start taking that money out. Why? Because they want to get their tax money at some point, right? They let you put it away tax free. Now they want their taxes. Okay. They changed that 70 and a half to 72. Why did they do that? Because a lot of people, 70 and a half is just not that old anymore. It was back in the day when retirement age was set at 65. Of course, now it's been moved to 67. And at 70 and a half, required minimum distributions. So they moved it to 72. So when you're 72 years old, you have to start taking money out of your retirement plan, whatever that plan is. IRA, 401, 401k, 403b, whatever your plan is, 72. Now, there are people, if you're between 70 and 75, and you're a person that just doesn't need that money, and there is a lot of people that don't need that money, because we actually had the other ditch happening. I'm running out of time, aren't I? The other ditch happened where now you have people that have a lot of money in retirement. There's something you can do called a qualified charitable distribution. Okay? If you're 70 to 75, and you don't need that money, there's actually a couple of tax strategies. Now, these are one-on-one strategies. I really need to talk to you about it. But these strategies are there. and they can save you a lot of money. There's some guaranteed step-ups. There's a lot of moving parts to this. It's a conversation. But if you're a person that's got to take out required minimum distributions, give me a call, 828-289-9300. Tom, I'm out of time. This has been Gilbert Talks Taxes, WCAB, AM 590, FM 100.9.
Under control.
Having COVID in the environment here and in the world is probably here to stay. But COVID, as we're dealing with it now,